ladies and gentlemen. Today's show brings you the director of 420 Massacre, Dylan Reynolds, a delectable dish by Kaci. I'm Mr. Munchies, and this is Chronic Horror.
Welcome, folks. You've arrived at the intersection of horror movie fandom and cannabis culture. But don't worry, you don't have to smoke or vape to be a chronic horror fan. Just sit back and relax with whatever makes you happy.
Experience the chronic. Prepare to get lit.
I couldn't think of a better guest for the show than Dylan Reynolds, writer and director of 2018's 420 Massacre. Let's welcome Dylan to the show. Welcome, Dylan.
Hey, hi,
You
Josh.
ready to get lit?
Hell yeah. Thank
All
you
right.
and Dread Central for inviting me down here. When you said free cannabis, I just appeared automatically.
There you go, there you go.
Appreciate
Well,
it.
I'm a big fan of 420 Massacre, and for those of you who haven't seen it, I suggest you give it a spin.
So high.
Of course, cannabis plays a really big part in the movie, but it's also got a strong female cast, genuine scares, and it avoids all the blatant cliches and stereotypes. So congratulations on making the film.
Oh, thank you. Appreciate it.
I just want to hear a little bit about what inspired you to do it.
So I was smoking out, thinking of story ideas, and probably honestly the title is the first thing that came to my head. I know I wanted to make a horror movie. I know we weren't going to have a lot of money, so what the title has to have a lot of hook to it. Friday 13th meets weed meets cannabis, and that was kind of my, impetus to start writing it. And then as I was getting into it a little bit, I was doing some research about illegal cannabis farms up in the woods and stuff, and there would actually be danger for some hikers and stuff if they run across one of these fields and get shot at, or there's bear traps and stuff like that. So that was like, okay, so a cannabis farmer is a slasher sort of thing. So it's basically a meat and potatoes slasher movie, but as you said, I tried to populate it with characters you actually care about. So it was kind of like the theory was like, can you actually make more of an indie drama where like the slasher elements come into it?
Let's talk a little bit about guerrilla grow operations, because I know a thing or two about those as well.
Okay.
And there's this fantasy I think a lot of stoners have that you're gonna go hiking through the woods and you're just gonna come across this field of marijuana plants and it's gonna be nirvana. But the truth is, this is a PSA. If you're walking through the woods and you come across a big marijuana field, you should get the hell out of there, am I right?
No, I definitely, when I was doing research, I read enough articles where that's definitely the right course of action. Just hightail it out of there as soon as possible, yeah.
I've even heard stories about hikers being taken as slaves and made to work the marijuana fields and things like that. Have you heard anything that extreme?
I haven't seen that. I would read a different movie, maybe it's a sequel or something.
Seriously, if you come across those marijuana fields out hiking, leave them alone. Just don't even mess with that shit. Let's talk about the female cast members. What made you decide to have all female protagonists?
So originally when I was writing it, I had the usual mix of male-female characters, and it was actually the more cannabis enthusiast character, Donna, that was originally written as a guy. But I figured, looking back in cinema, we've seen that type of caricature from Cheech and Chong, Jason Mewes or whatever a lot. So I was like, well, I've known plenty of ladies that like to partake, so that would be interesting to see that kind of trope in that character.
Well, speaking of smoking, I think it's almost time for us to do a little bit of that ourselves. But before I pick a strain for you and for the rest of our experience, I have a few questions I'd like to ask you. Let me look at my cards here. All right, Dylan. Freddy Krueger, Michael Myers, Jason Voorhees. Which one would you choose to defend you against the other two?
It's a good question. It's kind of like, are you a Beatles man or an Elvis man, So it's like, what kind of slasher franchise do you gravitate towards? For me personally, I think probably there's better films in the Nightmare on Elm Street franchise, but Friday 13th is the franchise I love overall, even though any single film may not be the best of quality, but I have so much fun with them, and I like the characters in them and the setup. So,
I'm a Jason man myself, so I see where you're coming from.
So coming as a Jason man, and being that he's like an unstoppable force, I think he would be a good defender against the other two. Except Freddy can get you in your dreams and stuff, but as long as you don't sleep. And then technically, didn't he win in the Freddy versus Jason battle, or he cut off his head? It was kind of a draw.
It's kind of a draw at the end there.
Right.
So who would you most like to see killed?
Is there any franchise I wish would end, I guess?
Sure.
Wow, that's a tough question. I guess Halloween, at least for the next one, they're not calling it the third Halloween 2, right? So there was Halloween Machete Kills or Halloween Kills,
Halloween
right?
Kills.
That franchise is a little annoying because it's been rebooted so many times. It's like you got so many, you got the Thorn Cult, you got the Rob Zombie thing, so that one's the biggest mess as far as continuity goes. So I guess that's my least favorite, but then again, Halloween's probably my favorite slasher movie. So
There you go.
there you go.
Speaking of death, what would be the worst way for you to go?
Anything that probably takes a while to die and it's going to happen, so like drowning probably, or burning, or
What about being buried in an anthill up to your neck?
yeah, that would suck.
Doused in honey. What's your craziest personal cannabis story?
I mean, I recall one time hanging out with this guy, and it was in college. And before we knew it, I think we smoked like a pound. It obviously wasn't that high grade stuff. So, we were basically, not not functional for the rest of the day. So.
Wow. Now, for the man who has smoked a pound of cannabis, I think we need to go with a really heavy indica. Because you're experienced. Mm-hmm. You know what the effects are. So let's get you something nice and heavy. Now, when I like to imbibe, I have a little helper who gives me a hand. Let me introduce you to Miss Thing. Miss Thing, you awake?
Whoa.
How's it going, Miss Thing? Right on, I'm here with Dylan. I think we would like to smoke some really heavy indica. Do we have any of that Diablo strain left? Fantastic. So we've got some Diablo from Medicine of the Angels in Los Angeles. And in terms of a method of smoking, I figured we would go with the bong.
I kind of want to go with this right here.
Yeah,
I'll go with the
you
roof
think
then.
you can handle that? Let's start a little bit smaller with the glass bong.
Incremental? Okay, gotcha.
Yeah, absolutely. Hey, Miss Thing, do you have a lighter? I can't find mine. Oh, thanks, beautiful. You're awesome. Give me a hand slap. Backwards. Fist bump. All right. Take care, lovely. See you around.
Since cannabis still has a rough stigma in society,
But glorifying alcohol is totally cool.
I'm here to distract you while Josh and Dylan, go green.
How you feeling, Dylan?
Smoky.
That was a nice, smooth smoking experience.
I liked it. I dug it. Yeah.
So let me tell you what's gonna happen next. One of my favorite things to do after I get lit is to watch a horror movie. Of
course.
So I've picked something out for us, but almost as important, when you get in this state of mind, what do you really want?
Munchies?
Some munchies, yeah.
Nice.
So we got you hooked up. Let's see what the Homicidal Homemaker has cooked up for us.
So Josh, I am whipping up my s'mores edible entrails, and these are the perfect munchie meal. It takes 3 ready-made ingredients, combines them together, and you have a morbid appetizer or dessert, however you wish to enjoy this, and it is super easy and inexpensive to make. You're gonna start off by rolling out your crescent rolls and topping them with a little bit of Nutella. Then you're gonna take miniature marshmallows and place them right down the center. Then all you have to do is pinch the seams together. Then arrange them on the baking sheet to resemble entrails. After you've arranged them on the baking sheet, take 1 egg mixed with a little bit of water and red food coloring and brush over the tops of the entrails. Now just bake it for 15 to 20 minutes in an oven preheated to 350 degrees Fahrenheit. Hey guys.
Hey.
How you doing? You guys hungry?
Sure.
Okay, I'm sure you've got the munchies about right now, and I've made the perfect thing I've made my edible entrails, but inspired by 420 Massacre, I did a s'mores version.
Wow.
Because any movie that has camping, I mean, s'mores are the perfect campfire treat. So, are you guys ready to dig in?
Yeah, I'm ready.
All right. That looks awesome.
So, this recipe, it is filled with Nutella and marshmallows. So, it's gooey, it's very sweet, and it's the perfect munchie.
You ready?
Okay.
Let's do this,
Here we
Dylan.
go. I'm gonna like break off some of the innards here. All right.
I'm certain I would be salivating if I didn't have such dry mouth. Oh yeah.
Yeah, that's legit.
The sugar rush is like totally counteracting the indica.
Yeah.
Like right now, I'm like being pulled in two directions simultaneously. So Dylan, this is the snack that's gonna accompany us through the film that I've picked for us. 2013's Evil Dead, directed by Fede Alvarez. You ready?
Yeah, let's do it.
All right, let's do it.
We're gonna get you, not another piece. Time to go to sleep.
What do you think about the fact that they did a gender swap with the main character? A lot of people were afraid that that was just a gimmick.
You know, I honestly haven't seen this since it was in theaters. So the Ash character is a female in this?
Yeah, I mean,
Or
the
like
main
the-
character is Mia, the drug addict.
Okay.
The drug addiction works as a plot motivator. When you get to a spooky cabin, you know, people in horror movies tend to just ignore, you know, all the red flags, right? The whole idea that they're there to detox Mia and that they're staying there no matter what because it's tough love, really like adds legitimacy to why they would stay. And the fact that she's withdrawing makes her seeing these red flags suspect. You know, how can you believe anything from someone who's going through withdrawals?
Right. It's a good excuse to get them all out into an isolated place, and it makes sense
Exactly.
why it's so isolated.
Right, and when
Yeah.
she's begging to leave, and they're all, no, we can't leave. You know, you know, in a lot of horror movies, you'd be like, you're stupid to stay, but in this one, you have to stay. You've gone so far.
What do you think about the Book of the Dead redesign in this?
Love it.
Yeah.
Love it.
How do you feel of them going more serious tone for the Evil Dead?
It worked.
Yeah.
You know, I mean, there are two things you should do in a remake. You should honor the original and make it new.
And do your own thing, right? What subgenre of horror would you call it? I mean, it's kind of slasher, but I think it's almost a subcategory of beyond slasher. It's like a subcategory of slasher.
It's a cabin in the woods. I mean, the original Evil Dead is held up as the paradigm of the cabin in the woods subgenre, but there are also elements of body horror in this.
Right.
You know, body horror being a film that shows mutilation. The scene right here is definitely an excellent example of body horror.
Oh.
The syringe.
Syringe to the eyeball.
Oh no! Stop
she's
it!
just like doing it like,
Stop it!
Eye horror is definitely.
That's it. You know,
yeah,
it's
it's
eyes, teeth, and fingernails. Watch this. Watch this. This is where he pulls the needle out of his eye. And I would just love to know how they do this.
Oh, it's so long. Oh, that's pretty gnarly.
And she's not dead yet. How did being elevated add to the experience?
Oh, definitely during certain scenes, it definitely gets you zoned in and all that craziness. So.
Hey, thanks for being here, my friend. I wanted to give you some gifts from some of our Dread films. We got Terrifier for you, Assassinat, and Director's Cut.
Assassinat.
So enjoy those.
No,
And
Dread Central Presents is doing good stuff, man. So
Thank you.
I'm looking forward to this.
great to hear.
Yeah.
And let us know if imbibing, if being lit enhances the
Assassinat,
experience.
that's a great title, man.
Isn't it?
I
Isn't
haven't
it?
seen this, so I look forward. Yeah.
Awesome.
Thanks,
Well, I
man.
hope you enjoy
All right,
it.
Thanks.
Thanks again for being
Appreciate
here.
it. Thanks, Josh.
All right, keep it lit.
I hope you got your bloody fill of your leafy greens. Tune in next time for more chronic horror. And as always, remember to partake in recreational cannabis-related activities responsibly.